All right, let's get started with Roll for Question, the show where a veteran DM answers your questions about Dungeons and Dragons. Feel free to leave a question in the comments or in the chat if you have any, and I will answer them. In the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is working on my intro campaign. So last time, that's what I did. I wrote this up, about 7 pages, and between now and then, I took the liberty of making a few tabs and moving documents from where they belong. So we've got the intro here. I've got chapter 1, which is where most of the content is, and we just need to flush it out. There's a lot of to-dos here. I have to write amazing box text. I have to draw a map, draw another map, draw a map. Oh, shoot. I was supposed to bring a bunch of names, too, and I did not do that. I'll do that next time. So this is not going to be the time that I'll be naming stuff. So we still got place. That's the greater name of the world. The name here, Mercenary Guild, is in charge. We've named this village Farmrock, which is not a permanent name. That's just a working name. But if I don't change it, that will be the permanent name, and I don't know how I feel about that. So I got inspired to make a dungeon today. I got inspired to make a crafty, surreal kind of dungeon. And there's not really going to be an opportunity here in Chapter 2 to make that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip past Chapter 2, go straight to Chapter 3, the end, the part where the party solves everything, the end. And that is going to start with the party needs to get to where we want them to go. Party needs to get to where we want them to go. And we've previously established that there is a volcano elemental out here in the wild. In Chapter 1, if the party gets lost, one of the hazardous locations is a volcano elemental wandering around, and fighting that at level 1 is unlikely to be successful, but hopefully the party is not level 1 at this point. They will hopefully be level 3, so they should have a chance. So we can kind of set them on a collision course with this volcano elemental. If the party has not handled the outdoor volcano elemental, then they will encounter it on the path to the dungeon. I'm just gonna name dungeon. We're gonna come up with something cool when I'm feeling inspired enough to come up with names for stuff, and that's not now, and that's totally fine. We also have a side quest that involves, did I actually write this down or did I just envision it? Okay, yeah, I did write it down. Okay, if they succeed, they can distribute casks around the village, which prevents hostile animals from approaching. So we can include hostile animals in this encounter, and if the party has dealt with the hostile animal epidemic, it's not epidemic, I don't know why I said that. If they deal with the hostile animal problem, then those animals are not hostile and may not be present, or they might help. I don't know. Depends on the party, but if the party has not handled the hostile animal problem through the side quest in Chapter 2, or through some other method, then there are also hostile wolves. Wolves are my generic. Insert animal here. Present during the fight. That fight alongside the volcano elemental. Because they don't view the volcano Elemental as a threat, and they do view the party as such. So, we have more to do here. We need to draw a battle map in the wilds for this fight. Then, we assume that the party survives. They get through that fight, and they continue on to the dungeon. We don't need to put any more obstacles in their path. We can just say, you do it. Name dungeon. Inside are 3 more volcano elementals that the party needs to defeat to achieve their goals. Hold on 1 second. We need to give this dungeon name dungeon some sweet dungeon box text here. Okay. Gonna be spending an entire stream just writing box text. We need to draw a dungeon map. Now, unlike all the other maps, which I can postpone because I just can, dungeon maps are kind of valuable for inspiring what you're doing. So it is actually valuable if we just do it right now. So I have GIMP here. Cool. Let me just put that over there. This is supposed to be a pencil. That's too big for a pencil. Let's just make this smaller. Even smaller. That's still too big. How zoomed in? I'm not zoomed in at all. Why is it so big? Oh, also the window should be over here. Sure, that's fine. That's fine. That is sufficient. So, there are 3 tips that I wanted to bring up when drawing a map for your dungeon. And I'm going into this. I've got a little bit of inspiration in my head. Actually, let me write down some of my thoughts. They're just in my head, but it's a good practice to write them down. Themes and palette. Lots and lots of ash. Mirages. Cool, let me just put this on a new line. Mirages. A hot room. And cold rings around the hot room. So there'll be a room with lava. And then there'll be rooms around it that are enchanted to contain that heat. Partly to concentrate that heat, but also, it's convenient for the players. Here's a room that you're safe in. There was one other idea I had. I got distracted. Hot room. This is a volcano. I think the other one I had was 3-dimensional, but that's not a theme or a palette. That's one of the tips I want to give. I'm gonna write complex trap because I think that's valuable in an intro adventure, just to show off how can an intro trap not suck. So I don't remember if that's what else I think is. So if I get any more inspiration, I'm going to add one more thing to this. But back to the drawing board. There are 3 tips that I like to keep in mind and I like to offer players who are drawing. Number one, you want to make sure that you do something called Jaquays in your dungeon. I might be mispronouncing that. That is named after someone who's really good at dungeon drawing. Basically means make your dungeons non-linear. Try to avoid or even actually start and try and avoid doing this. Because it's very linear and the players don't enjoy it. It's just like have multiple paths. More interesting. Make a web of paths, have another start. Yeah, that's just do that. Make your dungeons non-linear. It'll make your dungeons more interesting and give you more room to design. Second tip, exploit the third dimension. I always recommend that because it's just a people think in 2 dimensions and you're drawing maps out in 2 dimensions, so that kind of reinforces that. So when you add the third dimension, it adds a lot more texture to your dungeon from the player's perspective. So as an example, if you're in a room and this room has 2 exits and you don't know anything about these other 2 rooms, it's not really much of a choice. But if you're in a room that has an exit and it has stairs that go down, I know how to draw stairs. I think I did it backwards this way. I'm so good at drawing with the mouse, by the way, in case you can't tell. Oh my gosh, I'm amazing with drawing. Okay, look. Stairs. Down. Anyway, if you have a room with 1 exit and stairs going down, that is somehow different. That is somehow a different choice. There's a tradition in Dungeons and Dragons where if you go down, if the expectation is you're going deeper into the dungeon, it's getting harder. And if you go up, you're leaving the dungeon. And obviously that's reversed if you're like in an outdoor building. If you're outside, not outside. If you're in a building where going up takes you deeper into the building, but there is a tradition and a bias that traveling up and down stairs is a lot more meaningful than going into an adjacent room. So your players may have the strategy of like, well, we can't go downstairs yet. We haven't finished exploring this floor yet. And you can exploit that to make your dungeon a lot more interesting if you think in 3D and you plan out like, okay, this room connects over here to this room, and this room connects. This room goes up downstairs to this room. It'll make your. It's more fun to map. I'm just gonna say that it's more fun to map probably. Can I undo this? And the third tip I have, and this is not really a tip it's not really an actionable tip, but take a look at video games. Take a look at how they do mapping. Learn from them. Don't hesitate to grab a map from a video game and kind of chew on it and recycle it and use it for yourself. I feel like video games are a lot better to take inspiration from than other tabletop games. Video game map design has just come a long way over the past decades. And the reason for that is that video games actually place a lot more restrictions on the mapper than tabletop games do. And some of you might be like, what? No, that can't. Like a video game, you have like the computer. You can offload all the work to that. It's like, no. In a video game map, in a tabletop game, you draw it, you type it, it's done. you can rely on the player's imagination to do a lot of heavy lifting. You don't have to draw that much detail. In a video game, you have zero imagination you can lean on. And also, just because you can draw doesn't make it so. The engine needs to support what you drew. For example, if I wanted this room in this dungeon to have a really high ceiling, I'm not going to write really high ceiling. If I wanted to really have a really high ceiling, I just say it. Done. If I want to do that in a video game, well, I'm taking for granted that my engine lets me do that. And it may take me like 2 weeks to add that into my engine to allow me to do that. And is it worth 2 weeks just for that? Maybe not. Maybe you spend some creative time coming up with another way to make what your idea is come to life, rather than raising the ceiling. You might run into a limit where you're like, I would like to have a big pile of gold in here and a sword on top of that pile of gold. And in a tabletop game, you say it and it is so. You describe it and it is thus. In a video game, there's no guarantee that the engine will let you do that. And you have to get creative sometimes. You might have to draw the texture of a gold pile on the ground, and you might have to draw like a gold object. Something you might have to make sacrifices in the name of your engine. You might have to make sacrifices in the name of performance, and you can't leave anything up to the imagination. In a tabletop game, you can. In a tabletop game, the player's imagination does heavy lifting, and so I think it's just my opinion that just take a look at any 3D game, any 3D dungeon crawl video game out there. Look at the map there. See if there's anything interesting going on there that you can steal for your own tabletop game. All right. So when I'm drawing a dungeon, I like to start with a focal point, which is not the boss room, but it is the focal point of the dungeon. So we're going to say that's this. And I'm going to call this, and I'm going to pull out the text tool because I'm not going to draw focal point. Oh God, that's huge text. Nope. That's the wrong button. Delete. Can we make this smaller? Okay, I'm going to call this room 1. And I really wish it would not just reset the font size. Nope. Room 1. I think I could have just drawn a 1. Maybe I'll just do that. Okay. And I do like to draw rings. Rings are very... they're easier to conceptualize for me than just like arbitrarily putting around like room. Why isn't it drawing? Room. Hello? Oh, am I on a new layer? How did I get... What? Oh, that wasn't a new layer. That was something else. Okay. There we go. If I put a room here, I put a room here, and I put a room here, and I'm like, all right, we're connecting these like so. Like it's just it doesn't work in my brain. If it works in your brain, go for it. I'm gonna draw a ring, and also I should have left more space here. So we're gonna put a room here, and a room here, and a room here, and a room here. What are these rooms gonna be? I don't know. We're gonna connect them. We don't have to connect them like a cross. We can do this. That is fine. Let's draw a second ring. Actually, first, this is a 2, 3, 4, 5. Should I be numbering them like that? No, I should not. I should fix these numbers, but let me finish drawing first. To explain why. 6, 7, 8, I'm good at drawing a 6. I can do it. And then this is kind of linear, so let's make another ring. 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right. We'll connect that there. We'll connect this one here. This one can go here. Nope. There. And then do something like this. And then we'll connect that. Okay. That creates something that clicks in my mind. Got 10, 11, 12. Okay, let's say there's an entrance here. And an entrance here. Okay. Use isometric paper. I don't have isometric paper. We've got this map. We have all these numbers, and we need to actually pick them, put them in better spots. So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab the eraser. I'm going to delete this 1. I am going to leave the focal point. This eraser is doing nothing because I am still on the text layer. There we go. Okay, make that bigger. Don't mind me. I'm just renumbering this so that it'll make more sense, the order that I write it in my document. So I want the entrance, and I put E for entrance, and that is probably going to be confusing because E also means exit. I should have had S for entrance, S for start. It's good for drawing dungeons. Is that what you're doing? Yes, I am drawing a dungeon. I do be drawing the dungeon. Coming soon, the dragon. All right, we put a 1 here. We'll just say this is the entrance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, good. I'm getting even more atrocious at these. 2, 3, 4. Do I need to turn down the mouse sensitivity? Maybe. 6. 7, 8. Cool. 8, 9, 10. This doesn't need to be perfect because this is just for me. This is not the actual dungeon. This is just for planning purposes. All right, we take this and then we copy the whole thing. Select the whole thing, copy the whole thing. And then we go back to our document. Oh boy. Paste. Hey, it works. Cool. I was only 90% sure that would work. Okay, we're gonna draw a dungeon map there because we actually need it. This is not a dungeon map. This is a node graph or something. This is sufficient for our purposes, but I am going to put this on a separate monitor because I'm going to need to refer back to it. All right, and now been playing Stone Shard. It's brilliant. Stone Shard, I am not familiar with that. I'm going to be putting this there. We've got 12 rooms to fill out. 2, nope. Okay, there we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and etc. And we've listed number 10 as the focal point. And what I thought about the focal point being was the hot room that I have listed up here. So this is a room that has what what's the name of the thing? What's a volcano without any lava in it? Just a hole? This has a hole. The hot room. This room has a deep hole in it that radiates out geothermal heat. The volcano elementals use it to, I don't want to say chill because that's too much of a pun. Relax and re-energize. To rest. That's the word. They find it deeply comfortable. If the volcano elementals fight here, they will have an advantage. We can think about that advantage later. The critical thing is that there's a hole in the ground, and that hole is very hot. And obviously, you can fall down it and die if you want. Is there anything else of interest in this room? This would be the room that the volcano elementals would be interested in most being comfortable for them. So it would be rearranged. The room would be rearranged with a lot of rock piles designed to concentrate heat. It also creates a lot of cover. Okay. There are two entry points into this room. One from room 9 and one from room 11. So room 9 and room 11 are both cold rooms. Cold rooms. But being cold is not sufficient. Like we got to come up with more than just that. Room 9 is also very close to an entrance. I mean, closer than room 11. So room 9 can serve as a So what is the point of this dungeon? The point of this dungeon is that the volcano elementals reside here. This is where they find refuge, and this is where they are creating the volcano. I'm going to say that the hot room here is where the volcano is being created. So let me look up here. Doesn't seem to be a terminology. All I can find is either extinct or dormant. Strange that there would have been a term for that. We can just roll with hole. Pit. That's a classic. That's a classic term. So we can have one of these rooms be I don't want to say trash room, but a room where we're going to have lots and lots of ash. I'm going to call this room 11, the room over here. The ash room. Volcano. Elementals make an effort to keep the hot room clear of any mess by moving it into this room. This room additionally, we're gonna start creating a dungeon ecology here, and there are several creatures that consume heat and produce cold. So the obvious one is I think it's brown mold. Brown mold, is that? I don't think it's in the free rules, so I'm not gonna even bother looking it up. But I believe brown mold converts heat into cold, does cold damage, and it grows when it's exposed to heat. is host to a brown mold. That's the one. Eats heat, right? Colony. And is in control of several corpses and their loot, which it uses to defend itself with. The brown mold feasts on the volcano elemental energies whenever available. Will this be playable co-op? I hope so. This is made for 3 to 5 players, however many at your table. The standard Dungeons and Dragons table is what should be available for. Fire salamanders. That is a good one. Fire salamanders would make a lot of sense in room 12? Or one of these rooms over here. So I'm just going to write that. Brown mold feasts on the volcano elemental energies whenever available. Brown mold. If a party shows up here, obviously they're going to have to contend with the brown mold. Does that mean? They're probably going to attack them, because party is also warm. But what does it mean that this room is cold? Cold. It doesn't need to mean anything. We can just leave it there. Number 9 is also a cold room. Are we putting them in? Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, I'm pretty sure fire salamanders are... They make sense. They could be like the pets. Or they could just be tag-alongs. Mirages. Okay, so we could have something generating mirages in here. Something is generating illusory things in this room. Let's call it a gem. A gem that converts heat into illusions. Dungeon Keeper in it? Yeah. Kinda. A gem that converts heat into illusions. Now, I think there is a gem of illusions. I could be wrong. Let me actually look that one up. Because if there is, we can just use that. And we can just say, there's a gem of illusions in this room. It's generating illusory, I don't know. It's generating illusory oozes, and also there's some real oozes in this room too. And you have to figure out which ones are real. Cool. These are not the magic items. Where are they? Wondrous items. Oh, cool. This isn't the list. Magic items A to Z. Gem of... It's not here. There's a deck of illusions. Doesn't matter. We'll just make one. I'll do a double check later if there is one, and if there isn't, we're gonna make one. Which create illusory oozes which populate the room. Additionally, 2 real oozes populate this room and are hostile to any sources of heat. That's not right. And they feed that feed on any sources of heat. They feast on the volcano elementals whenever available, but are shooed of the hot room. I think slimes like the heat. Maybe what's your source for monster lore? Let me check. I don't have much. So Nothing oozes yet. So anything we're cooking here is fresh. Fresh lore for oozes. So we can ease. I don't think there is an ooze that feasts on heat by default. There definitely isn't one in the basic rules. I don't think there are any oozes in the basic rules. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, no, there's not. These are all animals. So we will have to cook one up, and we will. But we can let that simmer for now. We've got an ooze room. We've got a mold room. Both of these rooms are an ecology that they don't fight with each other, and they do be a hassle for the volcano elementals to deal with. And they are kept at bay by them. But if you if you get rid of the volcano elementals, we know what would happen. Immediately afterwards, these guys would move in. Okay. So if we look at rooms 9 and 11, we have rooms 12, 6, and 7 connecting them. Room 7 is an entrance. So I'm going to say this is a side entrance because room 1 is the main entrance. This is a side entrance. Partially formed from the rocks collapse, from the unstable structure. Climbing through it is a difficult squeeze. There's not going to be a lot of space here. This is not an intended entrance or exit by the volcano elementals, so they did not make it safe. They did not make it. It's not big enough for them either, so they can't go through it. There are cavities inside of the rock that can be used for safety from the volcano elementals, and are largely unoccupied at the moment. So the players will need to draw a more specific, like, little mini maze here for the players to crawl around. And the rock here is still unstable, so adventurers crawling through it do so at their own risk. So there's a chance they can get buried alive, which is it's a pretty critical problem. We'll draw a mini maze, and we'll draw like checks. Adventurers can ascertain if a tunnel is stable or not through. Now I know dwarves have a thing that this ties into. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I do know how to look it up because I have it right here. Where are the dwarves? Where are they? Dwarves. Ah, there it is. Dwarves. They get stone cutting. Tremor sense. That's nothing. There's nothing here. Let's say through intelligence or tremor sense. And I'm going to say DC 13 because 13 is the magic number for low levels. If a tunnel is not stable, the PCs, the adventurers, can attempt to stabilize it through ingenuity or by being careful. Make a roll. Okay. Been playing co-op Return to Moria with my bro. It's awesome. Return to Moria. I'm not familiar with that either. It's on Steam. I'll have to check it out after the stream. I got to start forming a list for when the next Steam sale comes out and what I'm going to be picking up, because I got to get through my list. If I'm not structured about it, I'll just have I'll have like 1,000 games that I need to play forever. Especially when the next Steam Next Fest comes out, and I'm going to definitely pick up like 40 more demos. I've been consistently building that game list up. Yeah. So we got one of these rooms right here. What was it? I need what room? What else rooms do I need? 6. This looks like it's an intended room for the volcano elementals to be traveling through. So I'm gonna say that this is a storage room for the volcano elementals. They collect things they find interesting throughout the wilds and bring them here. There are a lot of corpses, trinkets, and thinking. A lot of corpses, trinkets, and gems present in the pile if the party is willing to put in the time to search for them. This room has also been structurally reinforced with a lot of wood and bone, making it quite sturdy, and with a lot of cover. Okay. So I also want to add, among the corpses is a guest that has been feasting on them, and that guest let's just leave that there. That's going to be a fight for the party to deal with. 0 money left forever. Yep. There's too many games, not enough time, not enough money. Room 11. Room 11 is the one with the mold. Yeah, that's the mold room. So that means that room 12 is kind of its own side thing. This was a failed. Oh no, this is the fire salamander room. Okay. So let's just flush that out a little. We'll put this a failed attempt at a hot room. A colony of fire salamanders has taken roost here and built this room up as its nest. It has tunneled out quite a bit of the room to make space, and there are do they lay eggs? What the hell is a ghast? A ghast is a deadlier ghoul, which is a form of undead that eats flesh. Ghasts are worse because they stink. and their stink is so powerful that it makes people paralyzed with nausea. So it's actually really, really deadly. It's not deadly in this specific case because the party has already fought a ghast in chapter 1 down here at the bottom. And it's entirely possible that they are prepared. Yeah, there's a ghast here. It's a boss creature though. This one is not. This one's just a ghast. It's just a dude. You know, it's possible that they fight one, so they're like, okay, we're going to prepare for this. So they're prepared for this one. That's the expectation. And if they're not, whatever. They've already beaten one. And if they haven't beaten one, then they're not in chapter 3. They're still in chapter 1. So, colony of fire salamanders. They're here. There are young here. The fire salamanders are distrusting of the party, but not necessarily hostile if they show proper respect. The fire salamanders do not like the volcano elementals, but they put up with them. They know how to stay out of their way and can be negotiated with. Are they intelligent? I can't remember. But we can say that since they have taken roost here, this is their lair. So they're gonna have a treasure hoard. The salamanders have a treasure hoard. Cool. That's not the right. There we go. I spelled it right. All right, and since we have the colony here, we can kind of just drip them into the next couple of rooms. Rooms 2 through 4. Room 3, a failed attempt at a hot room by the volcano. There is a pit here, but it does not reach the core of the plane and is not hot. There is a geode of gems. What's the fabulously precious metals? Precious metals at the bottom of the pit. Let's say it's deep. There's a 80 foot pit here. Fire salamanders, come to this room to kind of to use as a leisure space and to throw things they don't like into the pit. Okay. Rooms 2 and 4, they're kind of out of the way. We can make them, I don't know. One of them can be a room just filled with mushrooms. I mean, honestly, all these rooms could be filled with mushrooms. Anything outside of this ring. So 2, 4, 5, 3, 8. Did I do 8? I did not do 8. So 2, 4, and 8 can be filled with mushrooms. 11 is filled with mold, which is a type of mushroom. That's whatever. These are harmless mushrooms. There's just a lot of mushrooms. There's just a lot of mushrooms in this room. It's crazy. It's basically food for several things in this cave dungeon. Bum, 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 bum. Come up several mushrooms. This space is safe for the moment if the adventurers visit it, but it is dangerous if they rest here because the salamanders will come and try to shoo them away. So it's just a room with mushrooms. We're going to have to come up with mushrooms. We can be very interesting with those. We can be like, these are mushrooms that taste gross, but if you cook them, they're very healthy and they cure poison or something. And these are mushrooms that glow if you put them near copper. I don't know. And these are mushrooms that are they just look nice. They make you feel at ease. I don't know. That's a project for another time. Room 4. This can also be filled with mushrooms. This room is also filled with mushrooms, but it is currently occupied by fire salamanders who try to shoo the party away if they approach. This room is also something. Let's put some bats in this room. Why not? Host to a colony of bats on the ceiling who are agitated by loud noises and will attack anyone who agitates them. Fire salamanders on mushrooms. I don't know what they eat. I should probably get the book and go look that up, but I don't want to lose momentum. I've got a few more rooms to make. We've got room 1, 5, and 8. So this one, and this one. And I still have a complex trap to add somewhere. And I'm thinking that's going to be room 1. That makes the most sense, honestly. But it could go here. It could go in room 5 instead. Room 1 can just be it's just a room. Smashing it, man. Thank you. Putting it in room 1 makes the most sense from a security standpoint. Putting it in room 5 doesn't make a lot of sense. But then what would room 5 be? So room 1 and room 5 could both be a complex trap. They could be like part 1 and part 2. And then like if you want to escape, you can escape through here, go through the salamander corridor, or you could go through here and then you get your choice if you want ooze or mold. But here there's a ghast for sure, and then over here, I don't know. That's something to figure out. Let's just keep cooking. Let's just keep cooking. So we've got part one of a complex trap, and we indented it because we just did. No, great. Stop it. Thank you. Okay. Part 2 of a complex trap. Now, I don't envision volcano elementals being especially sophisticated, so I imagine their trap is going to be something along the lines of like, we put a bunch of lava in a bucket and we put that over a door frame. And when you open the door, the bucket falls down and it sets something on fire. And that something on fire triggers even more lava to start filling the room. So I feel like that's a good... What I said is half nonsense, but I'm going to roll with it. This room is filled with containers of hot lava. With big rock containers of hot lava that are sort of sealed. Now, how does a rock container contain lava? Because lava is just hot rock. I'm gonna say compressed rock. That's magic. That means don't worry about the physics. Shut up. It works. Can you even compress rock? I don't think you can. I mean, you can compress rock, but does it contain a shape? I don't know. Special compressed rock there that are sort of sealed. And there are several, what's the word? I don't want to say like a string. There are several pressure points on the floor that, if stepped on, will cause a chain reaction that makes the containers spill their contents, slowly filling the room with dangerous lava that will creep along and threaten the party. How is that complex? The only way to make that complex is if the rock containers were if it was something along the lines of the rock containers are leaking lava and they're slowly filling things up, and the party has time to react to it, and they can be like, we can just leave, or we can try to do something about this lava. We can try and redirect it. We can try and close up the container. There's guidelines for making a complex trap in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I'm pretty sure they're not the basic rules. Trap? Oh no, there's the traps. These are small traps. These are not complex traps. Oh, okay. Under extreme pressure, atoms act weirdly. It's pretty nuts. Exactly. There's just extreme pressure happening here. Don't question it. We can say that there's a door. There are doors out of this room, but they are locked while they are heat sensitive and will not open unless heated to the proper temperature. That's how the volcano elementals get in and out, because their body temperature is a lot higher than a human body temperature. So they just put their hand on the door for 30 seconds and it just pops open. It's physics. You know, they put their hand on the door handle and that causes it to expand, and that causes it to properly fill the shape of the whatever's keeping the door closed, and then they can just pull it open. And if they don't do that, it's jammed shut. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. The room will reach the proper temperature after 5 rounds of lava have been poured into the room, or the party can heat the door through whatever means they have. And I need to look up how complex traps work, because there's gonna be like a half a page of text just for that I need to figure out. Should get those doors from the labyrinth. One of us lie and one of us tells the truth. We could have talking doors. That's too complex, I think. But talking doors are lovely. I appreciate those very much. Part 2 of a complex trap. We could have... We could do something with ash. I don't want to just repeat the same trap. The room here has poor ventilation. And and is uphill. And requires the party to climb while breathing in toxic fumes. Ba 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 bum 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 bum. It's less of a trap and more of a natural hazard, which is fine. That's totally fine, but I don't know. Insert better trap here. Okay. And it's worth noting, it's worth calling out that the trap prevents access this way. So the party can always just go this way if they want to avoid the trap entirely. So we can be a little mean with it if we want to. And we can always say just like, if the trap is too hard, you can just go. You don't have to go this way, you know? And that will hopefully draw the party this way. But we can expect them to go this way if they need to. Or we can rely on them going this way. Just realize when you said to look up fire salamanders in the trap, I or someone else here can look it up. You don't have to. You are welcome to if you'd like, but you don't have to. I have the books. They're just on the bookshelf, and they're not in hand. And I don't have a camera pointed at my hands, so I don't particularly want to just go and read a book for like 5 minutes. I'd just be reading to myself. We just have room 8 left, and I think we've used up our palette. Once defeating a salamander should sometimes loot party with their skills, which when they have X amount, say 3, can make a mask to protect against the toxicity of the fumes. They could do that. I would be particularly open to that. But the thing is, if they're fighting the fire salamanders, they're probably here at this point, and then they don't need to they can just go around the trap. So I don't know how much it could be a mask of like fire resistance. That would be pretty cool. Or it could be a mask of like we blend into the dungeon, so none of the creatures here see us as like the volcano elementals. They just see us as like a natural thing rather than a threat. Yeah. Room 8. So we got room 8 here. Room 7 is just a tight squeeze, and it's a failed entrance. Room 9 had some oozes. Room 9 has a gem that makes illusions. We could do that again. I'm okay with that. We can do that again. This room has a gem that makes illusions in it. The illusions it makes are they hide the way forward by creating many illusory piles of rocks in the room. These gems of illusions are cool. Thank you. I enjoy looking stuff up. It's a healthy version of gambling. You're welcome to look stuff up and let me know if if there's anything I can include. So there's not much going on in this room. There's just a room of fake rocks. That's it. That's not especially exciting. We can workshop that. So we have a dungeon. Now one of these rooms is going to be the party needs to fight 3 volcano elementals. That's the point of this dungeon. And I'm thinking that they fight 1 and then they fight 2. And they may end up fighting additional things depending on which room they fight him in. So if they fight him here, they're going to have to deal with the room flooding with lava. And also, they shouldn't fight them here because this is the entrance. Like, that would just... You enter the dungeon, the boss is right there. Okay, there's still the rest of the dungeon, but do you care? Like, oh, no. We did it. We beat the boss. We're out of here. The stones from the labyrinth. This is not the... Yeah. If they fight here, they're gonna have to deal with toxic gas. If they fight here, I don't remember what room 6 is. Room 6, there's a ghast here. If they fight here, they've got oozes to deal with, but the oozes might help them just as much as they might hurt them. Same with the brown mold. Brown mold wants to feed on the volcano elementals. And then if they fight here, the elementals have an advantage. I wrote that down. I didn't write what the advantage was, but I'm pretty sure they can like feast on the heat, or they can just make the room really hot and scorch the party. So, one of these rooms, and we can put our if it was up to us, the bad guys. If it was up to the bad guys, they'd fight here, but like they're not just sitting around waiting for a fight. So they're probably going to be wandering around, cleaning things up, making their plans go into motion. They might be collecting rocks. They might be digging. They might be, I don't know. They're doing stuff. They're busy. So one of the volcano elementals is in a random room from 1 to 12. Hey, that's a 12-sided die. If the necromancer in the party can roll a probability check for free skeleton summoning in ash rooms. The party probably isn't at that level. So the party wouldn't be past level 3, so I don't think they'd have access to that yet. I'm not opposed to the idea of them befriending something in here, but that is something the party has to do. That's not something I just want to give them. And that's also something I'd leave to the DM to figure out, depending on what the party affinities are. One of the volcano elementals is in a random room from room 1 to 12. Digging. Out new dungeon. I gotta grab a D12 right here. Let's do some rolls and see what kind of nonsense that results in, because I am curious. Is each room something we can cope with? Being a fight in there. All right, I got my D12 right here. Let's roll it. That's a 9. So if we have a fight in the 9 room, right there, that's the ooze room. We're going to have illusory oozes all over the place. We're going to have 2 real oozes that feed on any source of heat. That could include the volcano elementals. Yeah. That could be an interesting fight. Let's roll again. I'm going to roll 2 more times. Yeah, you can roll 2 as well if you like. Give me a number and we'll see what that results in. 8. Okay, this is a room with a bunch of illusory piles of rock. Sure, we can make that work. That's fine. Not as interesting, but it's not like this room doesn't make sense. Let's try one more time. 5. Okay, so number 5, that is here. So if the party fights here, they will have to deal with this complex trap, which is probably going to be breathing in toxic fumes. But that'll be an uphill fight for sure. That'll probably result in the party not going this direction. They might have to detour. I don't know. Don't have dice, dang it. You can. So if you just want a random number, you can actually just use Google. You can just go to Google and type google.com random number from 1 to 12. 4. That's a room with mushrooms. It's not very interesting. We got to work on that. We got to work on that. Oh, but there's a fire salamander here who is probably not going to join the fight because they don't like the volcano elementals and they know to steer clear of them. Oh, but there are bats here, actually. The bats will attack anyone who's too loud. I got a 3. Is that bad? This is a room with just... This is a room with a hole in it. So, that's fine. That's a fine room. That'd be a simple enough room. I think this wouldn't produce an especially interesting fight. So maybe we got to work on that. We got to work on that. I'll try one more. Send link mint. It's just Google. Google.com. I mean, I can search roll a die. Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. 3. Okay, 3. That's the hot room again. Fail the hum. Oh, that's what you rolled, yeah. 3 again. Okay, let's one more. 4. Didn't I do 4 already? That's the room with the bats. Come on, one more that isn't these numbers. Stop it. 5. We got all 3. Okay. The dice aren't very creative today. That's fine. That's fine. It takes work to be creative. We've got one volcano elemental just in a random room from 1 to 12. The other volcano elementals are just idling in another random room. We should be a little more careful about which room that they're going to be in. This is our boss fight. So, we can put them in room. We shouldn't put them in these rooms. Or should we? We should put them in one of these rooms. So 6, 9, 10, 11, or 12. No. 6, 10, or 12. Yeah, 6, 10, or 12. In another random, one other, in either room 6, room 10, or room 12. And this is probably something we should leave up to the DM, because that's a difficulty slider. Because if you fight them in room 6, you're going to be fighting them with a ghast. If you fight them in room 10, you're going to be fighting them with a hot vent. And if you fight them in room 12, this is a fire salamander colony. And that could be very complicated. This doesn't actually need to be random. We can leave that up to the DM. Remembering sleep and rest dynamics also mean eating extra. Indeed. That means we've got mushrooms in this cave. Don't mess with the salamanders. Yeah. I don't know what the volcano elementals are particularly doing. They're probably just collecting random things and throwing them into the pit. Was it room 10 or room 12? What was the... It was room 10. Room 10 is the hot room. Eating smoke. I think they're more on the supply side of smoke. Oh, they could be in the ash room. Or they tidying up room 10 or room 11. They're in one of those rooms. This gin is going down nicely. Gin and D&D life is good. Yeah. Okay, once the volcano elementals are dealt with, that's the game. After that, party can return to Farm Rock, and receive congratulations from the village. Insert cool box text, victory box text. Here, that's so many notes for box text for me in the future. And party gets paid. And I don't know. They hit level 4. End of campaign. So that's how that ends. This is only 3 pages. We're gonna need a lot more pages because this is not the dungeon. This is just the ideas for dungeon. All right. So what we need to do is actually draw out a better map than this. What we need to do is flesh out the complex trap. Let me write this down. To do, draw a better map. Flesh out the complex dungeon. Contemplate mushrooms. Contemplate the fire salamander. Ecology. Populate the storage room with stuff. My Hellcat has just woken up. We have a new party member. A perfect companion. We got to... I think that's it. No, there was one more thing. Make one of these rooms more interesting. Make one of the rooms more interesting. As room 3. Make room more of an interesting... Well, there's an interesting fight. If rolled. There's also room 2? Because I don't think there's anything in room 2. Same with room 2. There's just a lot of mushrooms in here. We're just gonna come up with mushrooms. This is a mushroom room. That's something that we can make. Did you get Link, dude? Link? I did not. This is something that we can make interesting by putting mushrooms down that affect the battle, like explosive mushrooms, which obviously wouldn't affect volcano elementals, seeing as they're immune to fire and immune to like pressure. But you know, that's definitely a problem for an adventuring party to deal with. Yeah. Cool victory box text, blah, 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 blah. Cool. We do this to-do list, we'll have a chapter 3. Draw a better map. Good stuff. It's an old school D&D dungeon drawing tool. I am not familiar with it. Okay, is there anything else? We do also need to pick an animal. Pick a hostile animal for travel to encounter during travel. All right. So we do all this. Oh, and then, of course, cool box text. We do all this. We have a chapter 3 done. Okay. Chapter 1, I think we've got things to do here, but they're mostly cleaning up. I don't think we need to... Well, we do need to write out this catacomb more, but... Yeah, that's a given. Chapter 2, I've already got a list of things to consider. Okay, we've got to come up with 3 side quests. Skill challenge minigame. Been meaning to get into this for a while. It's always a good time to get into D&D. Always. Love that game. So we have to come up with 3 side quests, and one of them is to create animal repellent. One of them is to explore the wilds and collect red roots. And then one is bring back a giant goat. Bring back a giant goat doesn't sound very interesting, but it also could be fine. This one we can turn into like a naturey dungeon. We're like a 3 or 4 room mini dungeon where you have to go into a room. Mini dungeon. Room 1. Entrance. Room 2. Left path. Room 3. Right path. Room 4, roots are here. So it makes a map that's like a square. Like if I were to go back to this, it would be like one, 2, 3, 4, and start. Cool. That looks like a 5. S. Nope, that looks like a 5 even more. Cool. There we go. That's an S. Let me just grab this. Copy. Party of 2 warrior and mage. Why is this picture so big? What? Okay. Put it here. And just make a quick dungeon. Let's just make a quick dungeon. Okay. The entrance. This is a naturey like a grove or something. This is like a grove. This is a grove the village knows about, where these roots are commonly growing. They don't like the sunlight, so they prefer to grow in these kind of natural formations. The entrance is a mostly thorns, a thorny area, but there are safe paths to traverse, left and right. The left way is full of tracks and likely and an observant party can likely figure out that there's animals living over there. There's totally a nest of What animal living here that is easily spooked by intruders? If the party is not cautious and super careful, they will spook the animals, causing them to run off and attracting predators nearby to the dungeon, who will fight them in room 1 when they return. And the right path leads to a hazard of some kind, I think. A non-creature hazard to a knot of thorns. But the party can see that behind them is the roots that they seek. So party needs to cut their way or burn their way through or negotiate their way through if they have a druid. I don't know. Or come up with some other solution to push forward without getting shredded by thorns. The roots are here in room 4. Get them. Cool, that's a mini dungeon. That didn't take long at all. That took like 10 minutes tops, maybe 5 minutes. I'm not good with time. Are there any tardigrade escape monsters in D&D monster lore? I don't believe so, actually. I can't think of any, like, there's bears, there's owl bears. There's no better bear than that. There's a lot of fantastic monsters, like stuff. I can't think of it right now. But it's there, trust me. And we definitely need a predator to show up here. The area here is quite choked off, but not a problem. Well, if the party moves slowly, if the party encounters a predator here, they can fight it off, but they must watch their movement or they will get shredded. If they try to take refuge in the grove and avoid fighting, the predators will leave in about 4 hours. Gonna order myself a nice D&D monster encyclopedia when I get a spare gold. There's a new one coming out soon. I don't actually know when it comes out, but the newest edition of the monster manual is imminent, if it's not out already. Hey, if you're making a dungeon, what do you think about rolling for an enemy, terrain, and obstacle? One could give players a choice of 2 rolled rooms. I like the idea of rolling when you're in the middle of the planning phase for a dungeon. Like right now, I don't mind rolling to see what's in a room. But in the middle of a game, I'm a little less enthusiastic about that idea, because what often happens is you roll dice, you get random stuff, and then it's up to you, the DM, to make that interesting. And that's very taxing on the DM creativity when you do that. And it's a lot easier to do that when you're not under pressure during a game, to do that between sessions. Plan that out, and then when the time comes, run what you've got planned. It's a lot easier to make that an interesting room. That's my piece on that. You can do it, especially if you are being coaxed into creating a section of the game on the fly that you weren't planning on making, because the players are like, we want to go over there, and you're like, why do you want to go over there? You don't get to ask why. The players say they're going over there. They're going over there. You got to be ready for that. So if you have to roll dice to figure it out quickly, absolutely. But I don't like it as plan A, just because it's very taxing on me, the DM, to make it work. Well, yeah. So we got to come up with a predator. We also have to come up with an animal. Bunnies and wolves. I don't want to do more wolves. I wouldn't mind a giant goat, actually. A giant goat shows up. Are giant goats predators? They are in this world now. Giant goat will leave in about 4 hours. It's definitely a balance, personally, for me. The more complex in time it takes to play a dungeon, ultimately, the more immersion there is. The bigger a dungeon, yeah, there is a trade-off, but there's definitely the bigger a dungeon is, the more important it becomes. Goatmen from Diablo 1, so that's a good parallel. bring that same energy over to here. What would the goats? I'm gonna say that they are interested in. I don't have to pick right now, so I'm not going to. Giant goat is fine because we're gonna fight that. A nest of birds? No, it needs to be something that's not flying. For old school games, I've played some RPGs, and yeah, I'm into hard challenges. I do like viewing speedruns for games. It is a very difficult balancing act to make this stuff challenging but not crippling. And that's its own pass. That's its own. When I've finished writing this out, when I've done all this to do, when I've got this dungeon, which I think I've got the gist here. And then all this, it's a completely separate pass to be like, is this balanced? Is this going to kill my party? Is my party going to blow through this? I am worried about this ghast, especially because it's not just a ghast. It's a ghast with 3 hit point bars. So it's actually really, really tough. But there's a back door. So if they grab this book and they shatter it, if they rip all the pages out, the ghast immediately loses all of its health, except for 1 hit point. That makes it even harder to figure out if this is balanced. And I'm going to have to do that, because I don't want to just find out in the middle of a game, oh, this is actually too hard, and I just killed my party. Whoops. Oh, I forgot that everyone only has 6 hit points, and this thing does, 2d6 plus 3 damage? And maybe I shouldn't have made the quest kill this thing. Maybe I should have made the quest steal from this thing. And then that's a favorite quest. I don't know. Oh, you check out Quake 1 speedruns. They are insane. Oh my god, Quake 1 runs. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those are insane. I could never. Just the rocket jumping alone is beyond me, but they are so much fun to watch. I can't imagine, like, if you've never played Quake, you can't watch a speedrun because you have no idea what, like, they're just going too fast, and it's really, really hard to tell the movement tech that is the air control and the I don't know. Oh yeah, but those are crazy, and Half-Life speedruns as well. Those are bananas. That's a bit of a sidetrack. So I think I think I just need to like flesh all this out. Like there's bones here now. This document has the bones of an adventure, and if you were to grab me and say, "Hey, you have to run this adventure right now. Here's 5 people we're playing right now in like 2 seconds," I could maybe run something, but it wouldn't be good. But I could run something. And what I need to do for the next couple of sessions is going to be a lot less interesting. I'm going to need to put the nose to the grindstone, write up some box text, write up some description, draw better than this. I don't know how I'm going to draw better than this. You've seen my art skills. This is the pinnacle of my art skills. So I may have to turn to some I don't want to say auto-generated dungeons, but I don't know. I find something that's tileable. There's some awesome FPS history documentary. Yeah. I don't know what I need to work on next. I will think about it, but this is a stopping point for me. This is a good stopping point. This is productive. Every chapter has enough to start. It's all on the page, and it just needs to be expanded, brushed up, polished again. I need to write a lot of box text. Maybe that's what I'll do next session. Is I'll write box text. I don't know how to make that interesting. So YouTube that, as I can't post links. It's 3 hours long and it's amazing. Oh, you can't post links? I didn't know that. Awesome FPS history document. I did not know there was a 3-hour video. For FPSs. Okay, I got it. Never mind. Sorry, I'm catching up. But yeah, I will stop here. If you have any questions about D&D, how to run it, how to play, how to make it work, feel free to leave a question in the comments. Feel free to leave a question in the chat. I am happy to help, give advice, got ideas. It's all good. Writing box text is very much something where I write it and it's bad, and then I rewrite it and it's less bad, and I rewrite it and it's less bad. That could be a fun process to see. I will plan on that for next time. Alrighty. Well, that is going to be it for me. I'm going to stop here. This is good. This is great stuff. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thanks for being a part of this. Hey, I wonder if you want to do a practice game stream next time. I do want to do a stream of this campaign, but I want it to be done first. I don't want to run it yet. I do want to run it. It wouldn't be a stream. I wouldn't run it as a stream. I would record it though, and I would go through the recording. Because I don't particularly know how to pick players that are stream worthy. I don't have that skill. I would need to build that skill. But yeah, someday. But first got to finish this out. Anyway, thanks for being a part of this. You guys are awesome. This was fun, and you guys helped to make it fun. I hope you're all having a good day out there. If there's a way for the audience to be one player, I don't know. Is that a thing that people do? I've never seen a stream do that before, where the stream is part of the game. That if there's a way to do that, I would like to know. I would need to look into that. All right. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I have streams, for example, Mario 64. Well, but those are like, aren't those a bit like Twitch plays Pokemon, where it's a bit chaos and there's a bit of anarchy going on, you know? Anyway, I need to look into that. I will bounce. Thanks for stopping by. I'll look into that. Yeah. Have a good day, y'all. Have fun. Have fun. Lots of games. And stay warm or cold or whatever is the appropriate temperature. Stay at the appropriate temperature, y'all. Hope y'all have good weather. All right. See y'all later.